I remember at the time I covered the Amanda Spielman thing quite heavily. I was horrified by her and by Ofsted, and and now it turns out that she's received a nomination and it's likely to go through for a peerage for a place in the House of Lords. The elevation of Amanda Spielman, the former Chief Inspector of Ofsted, to the House of Lords, a move allegedly championed by Kemi Badenoch. It's incited anger, disbelief, and for many profound distress, and I share all that. To understand the uproar, we need to begin with a tragedy, but I know of other tragedies that occurred during her Ofsted tenure, other deaths that I think must be attributed to the ferocity of the Ofsted system over which she ruled and which she endorsed. And the big event was the death of Ruth Perry in January 2023, the head teacher of Caversham Primary School in Berkshire, who took her own life. And this followed an Ofsted inspection that downgraded her school from outstanding to inadequate, a downgrade based not on educational standards but on safeguarding issues, some apparently minor, reportedly minor, and an inquest later confirmed that what many suspected, the inspection contributed to her death. And the response from Ofsted under Amanda Spielman's leadership was widely condemned. An independent review published in 2024 described the watchdog's reaction as defensive and complacent, and Spielman herself refused to accept any fault. In an interview, she explained, "It would have been very easy to say we got the inspection wrong. I couldn't do that. I didn't do that." To the public, and especially Ruth Perry's grieving family, this smacked of institutional intransigence. Her sister, Professor Julia Waters, has been an eloquent and persistent critic. Her words are haunting. Amanda Spielman's legacy is indelibly associated with my sister's terrible, preventable death. A record like that shouldn't have been rewarded with a place in the House of Lords, and one might assume, given this context, that any peerage nomination would be quietly shelved, or at the very least delayed. But no, Spielman is not only being defended, she's being extolled, and conservative sources call her a brilliant thinker, praise her wealth of knowledge. There's a whole piece in The Spectator today about her. The Spectator magazine even described her peerage as richly deserved, focusing on her supposed role in preserving the conservative education reforms and increasing the number of pupils in good or outstanding schools. Let's interrogate that claim. Because Spielman promoted a knowledge-rich curriculum. She refocused inspections on substance over surface, emphasizing curriculum breadth and pedagogical coherence. She challenged illegal schools. She raised uncomfortable questions about religious institutions, homeschooling, and safeguarding. But all of this must be held against a basic truth. She led an organization that, by its own admission, lacked empathy, flexibility, and the capacity for introspection. In Ruth Perry's case, Ofsted was not merely bureaucratic, it was brutal. And Spielman became the face of that unflinching rigidity, a rigidity cloaked in technocratic justification. And while there may be problems with different types of education, it's that rigidity and that lack of humanity which is so chaotic and so undeniably and demonstrably wrong. Her defenders now imply that to criticise her nomination is to weaponize a tragedy. I would submit conversely that to ignore it is to erase the human cost of flawed systems and the consequences of power without humility. Moreover, Spielman has not remained silent since her departure. She babbles like some sort of tap that you can't turn off. She needs a plumber badly. Earlier this month, she launched a highly public attack on the Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson's Children's Wellbeing in Schools Act. Well, that act has good reason to be questioned, but that is the job of Kemi Badenoch, and Kemi Badenoch doesn't do the job terribly well. But then she doesn't do any job well. Spielman has accused the Education Secretary of dismantling effective reforms and being swayed by unions. A government source replied acidly, suggesting Spielman reflect on her own failures before criticising others. Well, that at least is a retort. But But perhaps that's the key to the nomination, for in Britain's curious honours system, reflection is optional, accountability is rare, political allegiance, ideological conformity, and unrelenting commitment to a particular policy vision, these are the true currencies of elevation. Spielman fits a pattern. Technocrats who become totemic figures in service of a government's agendum, regardless of the public reception, like Dido Harding before her, or Gavin Williamson, the discredited but still ennobled. She's being rewarded, not despite controversy, but because of her controversy, because of her role in that controversy. She defended the indefensible, and that, it seems, is enough for Ermine. The House of Lords was once a place of scholarly, civic and moral stature. Increasingly it risks becoming a mausoleum of political expediency. And the potential ennoblement of Amanda Spielman doesn't just raise eyebrows, it raises fundamental questions about the values we choose to honour. If we reward those who presided over preventable tragedy with ceremonial titles and legislative influence, we send a chilling message to educators, to parents, and indeed to civil servants across the country. Perform loyalty, not humanity. Defend the system, not the people in it. Ruth Perry deserves better. So did the thousands of head teachers now looking nervously over their shoulders, wondering whether the pressures of accountability might break them too. And Britain's educational institutions deserve scrutiny that is rigorous, yes, but also humane. Amanda Spielman's peerage is not yet confirmed, but if it is, and it probably will be, it will mark not the celebration of service, but the coronation of callousness, and it will be, as Professor Waters said, with heartbreaking clarity, an insult to memory, an insult to justice, an insult to public trust.